So now that I've had my Tesla for about 7 weeks, I've been keeping track of all the data, how much energy I've used, how much money I've spent on charging, all of those things. And I'd like to share that with you now so you have a sense of what it's costing me to drive my car. And I'd also like to talk to you about whether my car is more cost effective than the Toyota Camry that I considered purchasing instead of this. So let's go through it and do the math and figure it out. So I'm going to attempt to break this down and compare the cost of a Tesla Model 3 and a Toyota Camry, both from 2019. Now, to be fair, I know I'm going to make a fair number of assumptions in here. There's a lot of things that would relate to me specifically, but may not relate to you. I may have some things in here that are kind of funky calculations. They may not work quite right. I'll give you my explanation as to why I got to them. But just remember that your mileage may vary. My whole reason in doing this is just to put together some sort of a framework to understand what the difference in cost is between these two cars. So let's start by looking at the purchase cost. The Model 3, when I purchased it, was $36,400. There was still the $3,750 tax credit that was available. So if we consider that, my trade-in, and any dealer fees that might offset the cost a little bit, the total cost to me was $30,300. Now I realize that it may vary for people a little bit, but that's essentially what I paid before taxes. Now, I'm not going to include taxes in here. I'm just going to do a one-to-one comparison because the tax itself is a relative thing based on whatever you pay and whatever the tax is in your state. The Toyota Camry, a new 2019 Camry, the SE model, is about $26,000. Now, I'm not going to add in the dealer fees. I'm not going to add in the packages. I'm not going to take away my trade value. The thing that I found in buying cars over the years was that when you go to a dealer, you're going to pay a kind of a set price, and you're going to negotiate up and down a little bit based on your trade, whatever, to get to a price that you want to pay. So let's assume for a minute that I just pay the $26,000. I get the packages that I want, I get a couple of other things, a couple other features, maybe a little bit of an extended warranty, whatever, and my trade comes off of that. And in addition, I have whatever dealer fees are covered in there. So I'm going to assume that $26,000 is about right for that. Now let's look at the maintenance for year one. The cost for the Tesla is $0. The only things that need to be changed on the Tesla itself are the brakes and calipers, do the alignment, and to rotate the tires and occasionally replace them. Since those are the things that you would do on the Camry as well, I'm going to exclude them in both costs because that would be an even cost in that case. The fuel cost for my Tesla Model 3, so far I've been spending about $24 a month. So if we multiply that by 12 months, it would be about $288 a year to provide electricity to my car. Now, something else that happened, my insurance rate went up by $900, so I'm going to include that in the cost because my car got more expensive as a result of that. Now, for the Camry, one of the things I did was to go back and research what maintenance-related costs are year over year for a car when you own it for 3 to 5 years. And what I found was there's about $100 off the bat that you might pay for your car in year one. And that's for the oil changes and a couple of other miscellaneous fees that you may have as you get into that first year and you have to do your oil change. Yeah, it's synthetic oil, so it's more expensive, but you have to do it less often, but it should be around $100. But because we're not considering some of the other things like tire rotations and so forth, I'm going to bring it down a little bit to about $75. Now, I'm going to look at my fuel cost, and my fuel cost, I'm going to say, is $2.50 per gallon times 15 gallons, and I need to fill up about every 10 days or 36 times a year. So my total fuel cost is about $1,404 given that calculation. So the total cost for maintenance for a Camry is about $1,479. So if we add that into the cost we've already spent on the purchase price, the new cost for the Tesla is about $31,488 for the first year, and the Camry is now $27,479. Now, if we move on to year two and look at the same kinds of things, we can consider the Tesla will have the same experience, $288 for electricity and about $900 additional for insurance to get to that same $1,188. However, on the Camry, the cost of maintenance will go up a little bit. Every year, year over year, according to the records, the cost of maintenance goes up a little bit, about $50 a year for the life of the car. So we'll say it's about $125 for the maintenance, and the same $14.04 for gas. Now, gas prices could vary a little bit. They don't typically go down, but they do often go up. But I'll leave it at the $14.04 number for now. So that means that for the Camry, we have about $1,529 for year two. So that takes the total cost for the Tesla Model 3 to $32,676, and for the Camry is $29,008. Now let's take a look at year 3. In year 3, the Tesla should remain about the same at $1,188. The maintenance cost should go up by about $50 again to $175, and we'll use the same $1,404 for the gas price. So that takes that cost to $1,579 for year 3. So that means that at the end of year 3, I've spent about $33,864 on the Tesla and about $30,587 on the Camry. So you may notice a trend here. The cost of the Tesla is remaining the same every year, year over year, but the cost of maintaining my Camry is now going up by some amount of money. So the difference between the two gets smaller and smaller each year. Now let's take one more look at this for year 4. In year 4, I'm going to say that my Tesla is about the same at $1,188, and the Camry now has a $225 maintenance cost associated with it, and fuel remains the same to take it to a total of $1,629. And that would mean that the Tesla is now $35,052, while the Camry is $32,216. So they've come closer in price by about $1,500. But that doesn't mean that the Tesla is comparable or less expensive at this point. It just means that it's closer in price. And this is where we can take the math and go a little bit further and think about the fact that if we view this as a 4-year play, we're going to sell either the Camry or the Tesla after 4 years, which seems reasonable. That's when their market value typically is around the highest, at about that 4-year mark. According to what we know from some of the historical nature of Teslas, they seem to maintain their value pretty well and would be worth about 45% of their original value at that point, which would put the value on the car of about $16,380, meaning essentially we could trade it in or sell it for that price. The Camry maintains about 40% of its value, which is also pretty darn good, but because it was a lower price getting into it, would mean that it was worth about $10,400. So if we did the math and figured out what the total cost of ownership was, because we bought the car, we took the tax incentive, we did whatever maintenance and paid for the electricity and gas, and now we're going to sell the car, we would end up having paid $18,672 for a Tesla Model 3 for that 4-year span, where the Camry would have cost us about $21,816. Now for me, that makes the value proposition even better. It doesn't mean that that's what I'm going to get. It certainly doesn't mean that it's going to work out that way. But what it does show is that the difference between the two really isn't as great as what you might think it's going to be. The Tesla Model 3 is a great value. It's a fun drive. I like my wife's Camry. That's what she drives, and I really like it. It's a great car. Very solidly made, very well thought out. I like sitting in it. It feels comfortable. But I love my Tesla. It's a much more fun ride. And with all the features on it and everything else that they have, it's really pretty incredible. And I think value-wise, I would prefer the Tesla in that case. So from my perspective, if I can bring down the cost of insurance and I can drive my car in a way where I'm barely using the brakes, which I do, so the brake cost would be even lower than what it would be in the Camry. And in that 4-year span, I get a lot of fun out of it. Now I could turn around at the end of the 4 years and I could buy another car, maybe another Tesla, maybe somebody else has an electric vehicle that I'm interested in, or maybe I love it so much that I hang on to it at that point. Either way, it's a terrific value, and I think for the money, I think it's got a great bang for its buck. And I just wanted to share that with you so you had an understanding of what I was thinking and kind of how this all comes together. I just found it kind of fascinating when I looked at the numbers. So definitely intriguing to me when I think about it and I realize that within 4 years, this car will be less costly than a Toyota Camry. That's something to consider when you're thinking about purchasing a car. You can't just think about the purchase price at the moment when you look at the sticker. There's more to it than that.